Alright, peace, Elena. This is going to be a reading. Welcome. So, first and foremost, thank you for sending the donation. It's highly appreciated. And I hope that this reading will serve a purpose for you in your life. Alright, so first and foremost, I like to break, when I'm doing these donation based readings, I usually just cover the sun, the moon, and the ascendant. As that information in of itself will give you a great um, understanding or insight, you feel me, into like your character, your personality, but ultimately like how you've manifested into this physical world. You feel what I'm saying? Because the sun, the moon, and the ascendant, these are personal placements that deal with just you, and then the other planets, they deal with different things. But anyways, in this reading, I kind of wanted to, because I was just looking at your birth chart, you feel me, and there are so many interesting things we can get into. So I'm gonna be speaking a little bit on Mercury as well, you feel me? Mercury is in uh, Capricorn, 0 degrees Capricorn in the 8th house. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. But first and foremost, um, your ascendant. Your ascendant is in Taurus, and the ascendant, or also known as the rising sign plus the first house, is the house or placement that deals with your personal life. So your ascendant goes on to create, well, not goes on to create, but it shows us, rather I should say, because the birth chart, it's just a map, or yeah, a map, you feel me, or a blueprint of like your soul's energetic um signature, if that makes sense. So all these things that we'll be talking about, in a sense, they are like thought structures, you feel me, manifested within your mind, and that's why this reading will most likely resonate, because the things I'm talking about right here, the things depicted in the stars, also correspond to your internal energy, you feel me. It's kind of like the 7 planets above. There's 10 planets, right, because of our discovery of Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. But Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, they're just higher octaves. But I don't think you need to know all this. But ultimately, the 7 chakras within us, you feel me, correspond to 7 planets above. So when you're reading your birth chart, you're understanding um, your chakras and their energies. You feel what I'm saying? Like the sun would be your solar plexus, for example. But anyways, let's jump back into your chart. Okay, so your ascendant, right? The Taurus energy. So the houses signify and represent different departments of your life. Meanwhile, the planets signify different functions. You feel me? And then the signs signify how the functions are executed. So the first house, right? The personal life. This house signifies all things that are personal to you, your body, you feel me, like the way that you look, not the, most of the way that you look, because the sun and the moon also contribute to like your facial features. But the ascendant is like your personal life, in the sense that you can look at it from this perspective. So the 4th house and the 1st house, they square each other, right? Naturally, the 1st and the 4th house belong to the signs Aries and Cancer. And Aries and Cancer, right, they square each other, those 2 signs, as is. So the houses also square each other. So the 4th house signifies your family home, like your domestic life. The 4th house signifies your domestic environment, even like in your upbringing. But at the same time, this energy, it's kind of an energy that attracts, not attracts, but yeah, is attracted to you. You feel me? So it's like, regardless of where you go, you create this similar, um, like family structure. You feel me? Not family structure, but frequency of. It's like different people, but same energy type deal. You feel me? So that's kind of what the houses signify. They signify the different departments of your life, and every single department of your life is ruled by a planet. And so the planets, like for example, the planet Mercury, right, deals with communication, writing, intellect, ideas, talking. Um, and Mercury, like that planet, it also gives way to um, like sales and marketing. You feel me? Things of that nature as well. But it's like, for instance, to say that your seventh. You know what? Let's not say, but let's look at to give you an example of what I'm talking about, right? So let's see your seventh house, right? So your seventh house is um is in Sagittarius. Is it in Sagittarius? I think it. Hold on, my bad. Your seventh house is in Scorpio. Your seventh house is in Scorpio, so that makes um Mars your seventh house ruler. And so what this means is that so Mars is a planet, right, that's associated and has a reputation for war, right? It's known as the planet of war. And so with that being said, and so with Mars, being associated with war, it's the planet of aggression. It signifies one's, I want to say aggression, but it's not just aggression, but one's ability to execute something. Ultimately, Mars is a planet that deals with ambition. It deals with strife, right? Mars is the planet of strife, which means that strife, right? Having to try hard to attain something. It's like Mars in alchemy is associated with the metal iron, and iron is very much associated with industry and working and things of that nature. But ultimately, those are kind of things that are besides the point, because what we should really be talking about is the aspects of Mars that deal with the social life, because Mars is a social planet. Both Venus and Mars are the two social planets that ultimately, okay, so Mars and Venus, they're yin and yang, right? They're called they're fuck, I forget the word, but they're cooperating with each other. Like Mars deals with the aspect of the social life that you know tends to aggression. Mars also deals with things like rape and sexual and I don't even know the word to use, but yeah, sexual assault, we'll say. You feel me? Because Mars is a planet that does rule the animalistic natures, so things like sex and all of that. But at the same time, Mars is a planet, you feel me, that it's maleficent and it's negative and it brings way to harm. And so with your seventh house being in Scorpio, right? The sign Scorpio, holy shit. Hold on. I mean, I guess it's a value to talk about your seventh house. But anyway, so with your seventh house being in Scorpio, so the seventh house, what the seventh house is. So the seventh house is the house that deals with partnerships, relationships. You feel me? Not associationships, because the seventh house is personal relationships. You feel me? People that you're close with, like your children, for example. Of course, that is if you have, um, a relationship with them, then they would fall into your seventh house. But if you don't have, a relationship or an association, well, I shouldn't say that, because like ultimately the fifth house and the seventh house rules children, offspring. Is what I'm saying. But anyways, with you having your sun in the seventh house as well, first and foremost, the seventh house is very much vitalized. Wherever the sun goes, whichever house it gets into, and also whichever sign it gets into, just because of what the sun signifies, right? I was saying function earlier, you feel me? And so the sun has a function of, in a sense, generating energy, right? Leading also, being the head, you feel me, of, because it's a solar system, right? So the sun, in a sense, runs the solar system, and it is the boss, if that makes sense. So ultimately, what all of this means is that the sun signifies what in your life you are putting the most attention to. You feel me? What in your life you, in a sense, have a desire to, we can say, dominate, for lack of a better word. You feel me? The sun, yeah, that's what the sun is. It represents
Power off.
your ego, represents your ego and how your ego wants to express itself into this physical world. So first and foremost, with the seventh house, well, with your sun being in Sagittarius, in the seventh house, Sagittarius is a sign that's ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is a planet that deals with like optimism. It's a positive planet, and Sagittarius is the positive side of Jupiter. Meanwhile, Pisces is the negative side of Jupiter. In other words, Sagittarius is masculine, the masculine expression of Jupiter, and then Pisces is the feminine expression of Jupiter. So, with Sagittarius being the masculine expression of Jupiter, it's more upbeat and free spirited. You feel me? So, as a Sagittarius, you are very upbeat and optimistic and cheerful and very much free spirited. You know, you need your freedom. And it's like, even when it comes to like the department of your relationships, especially with Scorpio being the seventh house and Sagittarius, yeah, and the Sagittarius also being in there, but Scorpio specifically, you know, that indicates that in your seventh house, you probably, and we talked about what the seventh house is, right? You're not romantic, yeah, romantic as well. The seventh house, it ultimately deals with like partnerships. So once you and someone are like in a relationship, you guys have tapped into the seventh house. You feel what I'm saying? It's like you can think about it this way. Like for instance, the 11th house deals with your friends. You feel me? So people you meet and people that you go out and socialize with, people that may not be that deep with you. So that's a whole different house, right? So it represents a different compartment of life. That's the 11th house. But then the seventh house, right? Once you and a person that were once friends, associates of the 11th house get close, right? Then you guys tap into the seventh house. You feel me? So that's how I'm breaking it down well. But that's like the cool thing about astrology is it helps you gain a clarity of the different compartments of your life. You feel me? Because there are 12 houses, and every single house signifies a different compartment of life. But anyways, let's get back into the sun. So unfortunately, with Mars being the ruler of the seventh house, you have gone through a lot of afflictions in relationships, a lot of narcissistic energy. Yeah, hold on. Before I speak, let me look at where your Venus is. Yeah, let's just jump into the reading, cause that yeah, let's just jump into this anyhow. Cause usually never mind. Forget what I was gonna say. Cause I don't do you readings like this usually. Usually I stick to just the like my laptop is about to die unfortunately. Um, I feel like that's gonna suck. So with Mars, you feel me? With Mars, um, but not only that, like with Saturn being in your no, Saturn is in your sixth house. So with all of this energy, you feel me? What happens is you attract narcissistic people, and you've gotten into relationships with people that want to control you or people that had selfish inclinations. You feel me? Because Saturn is also, well, it's not in your seventh house, but you have Venus, which is the feminine expression of relationship. Um, so you have both Mars and Venus in the Saturn signs. So you've had experiences with a lot of narcissism and narcissistic energies. You've made enemies, you feel me, and so you have Mercury at 0 degrees Capricorn in the eighth house. So one thing for sure is unnecessary, not unnecessary, but it'd be valuable for you to a necessity is what I was gonna say. A necessity for you to adapt would be being more attentive to your thoughts. You feel me? With the eighth house Mercury energy, it's about to turn off right now. Watch. But anyways, with the eighth house Mercury energy, it's not turning off. Your thoughts and your mind becomes an imprisonment. It's like the way you perceive the world. You feel me? Because Mercury deals with your perception. How, damn, that's crazy. It got real dark. But this is just how we're gonna have to do it right now. So you feel me? That's what Mercury is. So Mercury deals with the thoughts, your communication, your communications, but ultimately your intellectual properties and abilities. So on one end, the eighth house is a very mystical house. So naturally, you are inclined towards the occult, and you have thoughts that other people probably don't even think about. You feel me? And secrets probably come to you. You may be a keeper of many secrets. You know certain things that you probably shouldn't even know about. You feel me? But then the eighth house is also a very intuitive house. So it does direct the energy of Mercury towards a more spiritual perspective as well. You feel what I'm saying? Like when Mercury is in the eighth house, you see in like the spirit world is what I'm trying to say. Like you see beneath the surface, so you have an ability to see beneath the surface. But anyways, that pretty much concludes the reading. You feel me? So I would actually love to dive deep into your birth chart and give you a full reading. If you want to, then let me know and we can do that, and you will most definitely benefit and value from it. So yeah, and I'll tell you the prices. So ultimately, it's $90 for a full reading, and of course, some people can't pay all of that at once. So I do have installment plans where I break the price into like three payments of $30. You feel me? But ultimately, the reading in of itself is 3 hours long, and we dive deep into your chart. You feel me? I'm pulling things that you can use in your life. You feel me? Because ultimately, like I said in the beginning, the birth chart, it's a map, right? It's an instruction, a blueprint to the soul. You feel me? But yeah, anyways, let me know also what you thought of the reading. All right, peace.